Welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Flagship. I'm your host, Zach Berry, the handsome fella on the other side, Mr. Ben Garrett, a.k.a. Spirit Ben.
Back.
Better familiars of this here podcast network, powered by College Corner. Talk of Champions, if you're not familiar, find it wherever you get your podcast. College Corner powers that studio where we get this show and every show of the week, every day of the week, I should say, as we are now Monday through Friday here with the Flagship. Before we get Ben on here to talk all things Ole Miss athletics, as it's been a minute since we have chatted here on this show, I do want to remind you, College Corner, 3 locations, Oxford, Flowood, Ridgeland. If you cannot get to the brick and mortar, you can check them out, collegecornerstore.com. We've got Ole Miss basketball this week, Ole Miss at Georgia, as we record this on a Tuesday. That will be this evening. Regular season finale at home at the Pavilion Saturday afternoon. If you need to get some merch, need to get some new swag for the game, maybe for baseball, Ole Miss takes on Memphis tonight and then hosts Morehead State this weekend. Get over to College Corner. They've got everything you need. Shirts, polos, sweatshirts, quarter zips, all of that and more. 3 locations, Oxford, Sisk Avenue, Ridgeland, and Flowood. And like I said, if you cannot get to them in person, have no fear. collegecornerstore.com will provide. Ben, good morning. How have you been? It has been a long time since we have spoken via the internet.
Yes, we have changed things up here at the Talk of Champions podcast network, as Zach has so eloquently over his last 2 weeks, he tried to explain at least. The Ivy League is something we're really excited about. Our weekly show with Jared Ivey, where he talks to a player or soon to come a coach. This week is Diego Pounds on Wednesday, the North Carolina transfer tackle. So be on the lookout for that.
Real quick, by the way, Jared Ivey, I don't know. I actually don't know what his major is. I could look it up. He's got a future in doing some podcasts or some radio stuff.
Well, that's what I said to him.
Effortless.
I got to give Michael Katz a hat tip to him over the Daily Journal. He covers Ole Miss for the Daily Journal. He wrote that story, a deep dive featuring story, that there's still a space for that in 2024. It's kind of gotten ran out of this game a little bit, especially online. The fan sites like ours, Rebel Grove, Inside the Rebels, long form-ish, more featurey angle stuff has kind of gotten lost. And Michael did a great story of that kind on Jared Ivey. I read it, loves Harry Potter. Interesting dude. So I was like, you know what? We could do a Micah Parsons, Draymond Green kind of podcast potentially with Jared, but Ole Miss, and call it the Ivy League. And so far, we've really enjoyed it. Now, we're still very much in the early stages of it. What you've seen will not be what it is as it really gets going. But trial and error is part of the whole launching of a podcast thing. But you're right, man. Like, the one thing that has been there from day one is his innate ability to interview other people. And the thoughtfulness of the kid, very interesting. It's just, he's a natural at it. And there's no doubt in my mind that whenever football is done, if he wants it, the media space will be right there for him. Hopefully, we'll be right there with him at the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate on 3. But that's what's kept me off these airwaves for 2 weeks. And I got to be honest with you, it's been years since I have gone 2 weeks without recording myself talking on a podcast. Years. So I'm glad to be back. Glad to see your face, sir. But more than that, it's time to fire off some takes, because I got a lot of them. A lot of things have happened. I've watched every show, listened to every show. You can check us out on YouTube, on the JW Player, on the On3 site, wherever you open up a story on the On3 site, any On3 story, you'll see our shows. Also available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, wherever. We're there. Just simply search Talk of Champions. And I've been watching and following along. And when I say it's been hard not to be like, hey, Zach, can I come on tomorrow? It's been hard, Zach. It's been hard.
Hey, let me come on there and get a taste.
Hey, just let me drop here for like 15 minutes. 15. That's all I need. 15 minutes. Because I got to say something about Arch Manning and EA Sports, college football, But fortunately, I know. I was going to find a way to sneak it in. Because it's absurd.
Dude.
Tell the people what's happening with Arch. Okay, I know we're not an Arch show. Arch is a Texas Longhorn. He's not an Ole Miss Rebel
Well, this pertains to EA Sports College
Yeah.
Football 25, which is going to just change everyone's lives this summer.
Yes. Jared Ivey and TJ Dudley confirmed last week on the Ivy League. They haven't gotten themselves into the game yet, but they are going to. And it was funny listening to them debate their potential NCAA rating. I was like, oh my God, this was me in college. Like, dude, if I were like a tight
Yeah.
end, you know what? I
We
got to
gotta
be fair. You know, I want to be a 78, not an 83 to start, you know? Because if you're 83,
when
you're
the
going to not good.
when the game comes out, we got to set up like a live stream or
Mhm.
something where we play players on the Ivy League.
Oh yeah, well that's what I told Jared and TJ Dudley too, and apparently Chris Paul is the first guest in the Ivy League. He was he's a huge gamer, and I thought I was a gamer. I started trying to talk my shit, and then Chris Paul really laid down like how good of a gamer he is.
But what kind of
But
gamers are they? Like what games are they
well,
playing?
what do you want to play for Chris Paul? It's 2K. You know, NBA 2K. He's apparently, I mean, he's awesome. Anyway, we were talking about gaming, and as most should know by now, the Ivy League is powered and brought to you by Riverland Roofing, and we have decided, or I'm pitching the idea, and I think we're right on the verge of trying to get it set up, where when it launches, we'll invite some students and stuff to a roof on the square somewhere, and we're going to play the game, like a
Hey,
me, yeah,
just let me
and
know. Just
a
make the
Vince.
call. If people are
Yeah.
trying to get this L,
Yeah.
I'll come down there and hand them out.
That'd be great. So whenever that happens, be on the lookout for it. Other stuff too, we're gonna do with the Ivy League, going a turkey hunt, take them turkey hunting. We're going to the Houston Astros to.
I won't be doing any turkey hunting, but
Well, I'm
that's
going because
great.
I got to shoot it. You know, like I've fallen back into this producer role that I really love.
You're like the Jeff Tremaine
But the
of
yeah, of
Ole Miss
Jackass.
Spirit.
But
Yeah, there you go.
the problem with this is I am not outdoorsy. I know that's going to come as a shock to everyone listening and watching this that the pale redheaded fat kid who loves donuts doesn't love shooting turkeys. But I don't. But I'm the cameraman, so I'm going to go take my buddy Whit with me, the big outdoorsy guy, so he can be like my avatar. You
He's a
know,
spotter.
yeah, and then let Billy Landis at Riverland and Jared and Witt, do the thing, and I'll just capture the carnage. But that's the kind of stuff we got coming. We're just getting started, and I appreciate you mentioning it, man, because I didn't want to
Yeah,
come into the because I founded the Flagship, I founded Talk Champions,
I
and
know.
but it's yours. I told you this to do as creatively as you
And,
want.
and I appreciate Stephen
But
Godfrey
yeah,
withholding on sending a
do it.
cease and
Mhm.
desist.
Yeah,
I was waiting on him to.
I was kind of hoping for it. It would
So
have been.
let's get back to Art. So for
Yeah.
those that don't know, he has decided not to opt in to EA Sports College Football 25, which means he will not receive a free copy of the game and $600.
I'm awesome.
But mostly it's just the best tweet that I've seen so far that just encapsulates everything about how silly this is. At Equity Bruin on Twitter quote tweeted it and said, "Not taking 30 seconds to sign a PDF and have a check mailed to me because I'm too locked in." Because Arch Manning, the quote was, he's focused on playing football on the field.
On the field. See, that's the thing. JD Pickle, our buddy at On Three, he made a really good point. Isn't it a bigger story that you're not opting in? Just taking your $600. You're the fourth-string quarterback at Texas. I understand that he's Arch Manning, the name. He's got the most money, NIL money, probably anybody right now in college football. But this expression of, oh, I'm just worried about ball, it's too hardo. It's too try hard.
He doesn't get any NIL money, Ben.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's too try hard for me. You know what I mean? Oh, he's about playing the ball on the field.
It's
Well, we all are. I mean, that's ridiculous. So we can't have any hobbies. We can't do anything. Like part of the dream growing up, and I can't speak because I'm not a college football player, but I do know that I dreamed of being one growing up. I wanted to play for Ole Miss. I wanted to be the next Doug Ziegler. You know what I mean? Wearing number 89 at tight end. Not Rufus French, Doug Ziegler. I don't know. I'd rather be Rufus. Rufus is, but Doug was my guy. Um, and I dreamed of that. I was like, man, if I could just make it in this game, you know how cool it'd be to be in this game. So I get it if you don't think it's worth the money that they're offering. If you say, hey, I'm worth more than $600 for my name, image, and likeness in this game,
you just get $600.
yeah.
Who cares?
Well, here's the
I
thing.
mean,
It's fine, but here's what I'm saying. It's to me, I can totally rationalize it differently if Arch, if Coop, any of them would have come out and said, look, he's worth more than this. We can't accept this now because what he could be worth more than. I don't care. But at least then I would understand the rationale. When you say, I'm worried about the ball on the field.
Yeah, well,
Oh, so those who sign into it that are excited just because it's a lifelong dream for a lot of us, maybe not for them as much as for us because it's been gone since 2014. How old was Arch in 2014? 8. So, okay, maybe it's not the same to him. But just you try to play up the Hardo stuff in 2024. No one buys it. It's stupid.
It's more about
it's
just
lame.
being a part of something huge and like
and historic.
I mean, I don't know what the record is for like highest grossing video game sales, but I imagine this game will challenge it. And
The Last of Us 2 has to be up there probably. I'm sure there's a Modern Warfare that is up there, Call of Duty that's up there.
Maybe like a Final Fantasy or
for
whatever.
Sure.
But like this is part of like
this is different.
You're gonna be in the game.
And also, this is an event. This is truly like an event. It's hard to make things really big these days. You know what I mean? Everything used to feel really important. Like I remember going to the movie theater for Avengers Endgame and like packed theater. We were all in this shared experience. You know what I mean? It used to feel like an experience, and now nothing really feels that big anymore. If Ole Miss would have beaten Alabama, we'd have been like, oh, finally. And I remember in 2001 when Joe Gunn went up and over and Eli and them beat Alabama for the first time in 30 years. I'm looking at the newspaper article still hung up on my wall. It's right there. Whatever. Yeah, 2001. That was seismic. That was world changing for a lot of us, because Ole Miss hadn't beaten Alabama. And now good. They got to beat Alabama. About time they took the next step. We can't really appreciate anything. We can't ever really live in anything. And this has been gone for a decade. All we've been clamoring for, man, just give us our college football game back. I mean, I'm not even being picky because honestly, I want the college baseball game back more than I want the college football game. Because I love that college baseball game. I love college football game. Don't get me wrong. Cannot wait to recruit like crazy. I can't wait to hit the portal hard. Lane Kiffin will not be the portal king in NCAA football at 25. It will be Ben the Bulldog Garrett. I don't know why I call myself the Bulldog. I'm not going to state. Louisiana Tech. Me and the La Tech Bulldogs are going to roll into town with all our transfers, and we're going to win the whole thing. But college baseball, it was different because never again has there been another game like it. All right. But this is an historic event. It is. 10 years. The most popular video game disappears off the face of the earth. If you don't believe that your $600 is adequate, sufficient for your presence, that is more understandable to me than when I'm about to ball on the field. Okay.
Just take the 600 and donate it to like Austin Children's Hospital or something.
Yeah. Or opt in and don't say shit. And no one makes a story out of it. You made it a story by opting out.
All due respect, you're the backup quarterback.
Yeah.
You're not even the starter.
Yeah, but see, we've seen here at Ole Miss with Austin Simmons that like you can develop that brand. His brand is he's Arch Manning. All right. So again, if we were being honest, and it was like, all right, he's Arch, bro. You're not getting him for $600. Okay. But when you say it's about ball, good Lord, are you really trying to say that like the players that do go in, they're not worried about ball? That's silly. It's silly. We all have hobbies. We all have things we like to do. And for a lot of us,
it's just trying too hard, man.
It's try hard. It's too try hard. It's too try hard for me. And that's why, like, when I'm thinking about the future of Ole Miss football at quarterback after Jackson Dart, life after Jackson Dart, we've been talking about Walker Howard for a while. Are we sure it's not Austin Simmons? Because I'm pretty sure now at this point, kind of the whole Arch thing. Just stay at Texas. I hope he has tremendous success, But come on, man. Austin Simmons, the two sports star at Ole Miss that finally hit. It wasn't Jerry Huntley. It wasn't Tywone Malone, John Rice Plumlee. No, sir. It's going to be Austin Simmons. We got a long way to go before that. But anyway, I don't know how we started or why we started here, but I'm glad we did because that was just so stupid yesterday. Come on, man. I'm not clowning the kid. I'm clowning the decision in the way
How dare you leave off Seth Smith?
Seth Smith. Back up to one Eli Manning. No.
Yeah. Yeah, Austin Simmons has been
awesome.
You talking about being locked in, being dialed in.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's been great. It's been nice. I'm curious to see how he is utilized the rest of the year. It seems like that mid to late relief role seems to be good. He can max effort for 2 innings. But he's got good stuff, and then a lot of energy. I think that was good over the weekend. I believe it was Saturday game. He had a couple good innings, and yeah, just a lot of energy. I feel
Well,
like
here's the thing about freshmen,
that
though,
was
like
missing for Ole Miss baseball the first couple weeks.
100%. And the only energy you were getting was negative energy. Like Luke Hill coming out and saying he wasn't hacked. Look, I've talked to enough people. He was not hacked. Again, it's the dishonesty of it. Just come out and own your shit. But Luke Hill, he's kept his mouth shut. He's playing. He's not playing well right now. But like early on, they were losing, and also the only things coming out were stuff like Luke Hill bitching and complaining because his check hadn't hit his direct deposit yet, which is just antithetical to what we all came into college football loving about it. You know what I mean? So now it's about the wins. Like they're rounding into form and they're playing quality baseball. Now they're not where they need to be, but stories are starting to emerge. Like, for example, I think Andrew Fisher he's not the captain of this team, but like he's the leader of this team. Like Andrew Fisher is the soul of it.
He brings a lot of energy too.
He's trying to lift his teammates up with him and bring the energy with. So like you see those things, but as far as just upside on the field, you're just so used to with Ole Miss baseball seeing it everywhere, and right now you don't quite know who those guys are going to be. You know what the MLB prospect rankings are, but if you really just want to watch a guy who's blossoming into potentially becoming a thing, I mean, Mike does not pitch freshmen all that early, especially early on in the season. And before February was out, you had Austin Simmons pitching consequential innings. Now, is that a little bit of desperation because Mike's like, look, I need somebody? Maybe he's having to make or go against type in certain situations, like with Austin Simmons and pitching freshmen in consequential situations early on in the season because of the stakes. I mean, he's got to win. And to see Austin Simmons not only rise to that occasion, but thrive and show the potential for more promise, what he could be. I mean, I could see him being a rotation guy at by the end of his Ole Miss career. But I think he's for right now for this Ole Miss team, he's perfect where he is, as you said, as a middle relief arm that can come in, really pump it up there in the low 90s, locates it well, but it's the competitiveness and watching him go out there and compete like just a dog. That's what made me go, oh, God, man, we hadn't really seen him in football. I couldn't even remember what he was in football, because he didn't really do anything last year. He was just on a scout team, and TJ Dudley was getting all his scout team player of the week stuff. So it's not like anybody else had a chance, but like, I don't remember what Austin Simmons was, and I'm curious what you think now that you've seen him when the pressure was on. It was a different sport, it's baseball, but when the pressure's been on, he's risen to the occasion. If you're thinking about your future quarterback, buddy, that's what you want. That's where it starts. It's the intangible things, it's the stuff that makes him who he is. And my man has just gone out there and risen to the occasion. So when I say that my stock report for Austin Simmons right now is through the roof, and when I say that, like, I'm buying all of it, buddy, I'm buying all of it. I'm buying all of it. Because we got to start thinking about this. Jackson Dart has one season left here. One. Then after him, it's not like the show doesn't go on. Who's next? And we know they've had good candidates. We like Walker Howard, Austin Simmons, the recruiting profile. Who did they sign?
AJ Maddox.
AJ Maddox, the in-state kid from Oak Grove. All right. They've got talent in the room, but is anyone showing yet that, oh, he's next in line? Well, you've waited to see the flashes thing, and it came in the way of baseball. But like when I look at him and see where his teammates rally around, oh yeah, man, we might be on the opening steps of like a huge Ole Miss story. Like if he keeps this up, this kid, he's got something, and it's not just the athletic talents. Like he doesn't back down at all. So I've been hella impressed with him, and just the way Ole Miss baseball has responded. Quite frankly, I mean. Starting 4-4 and then losing like they did in the midweek. My gosh, man. It was but they look more like themselves. But of course, I'm focused on the football angle of it, like Austin Simmons. Oh God, he looks. Think about how his baseball makeup could really really is applicable to football and being a guy under center potentially as early as next year.
Well, it's definitely fresh on people's minds in terms of the future of the quarterback position. I talked with Caleb Cunningham last night, 5-star wide receiver from Ackerman, and he mentioned it. Hey, I know if I go to Ole Miss, I'm going to have quarterbacks that can get me the ball. They're talented. So it's not just Jackson Dart. Everybody knows about Jackson Dart at this point, but for these 2025 guys, they're looking at Walker Howard, Austin Simmons, AJ Maddox. So yeah, ideally Jackson Dart, great. The last dance, third year in the program, Ole Miss gets to the college football playoff, all of that. Ideally, you probably have Walker Howard for at least 1 year. Maybe he goes off and then that's it. And then the future is Austin Simmons versus AJ Maddox. So yeah, the quarterback position is in good hands for Ole Miss. And yeah, everybody raves about Austin Simmons in terms of a prospect. Just from Charles Power to Cody Belair, people I've talked to around the Ole Miss program. All the cliches, but they ring true when talking about quarterback play. Is the ball comes out of his hand different. His processor. I talked with a scout at the Under Armour camp, and that was a big thing. Was just how quickly can he process things. He's ahead of the curve there. We know about his accolades as in academia, graduating high school and having all the college credits. So he's a smart kid. So I think that's the biggest thing, especially for a quarterback. How quickly can you process things? We joke all the time about how Trevor Lawrence has ruined the position for everybody, because if you're a talented freshman and you don't come in and play right away, everybody is, asking the question, hey, what's the deal? What's your problem? Why can't you do it? Trevor Lawrence was elite at processing things quickly and being able to make decisions quickly. It's kind of the adage of, quick, not fast. Like being quick with your decision making, not hesitating, but not being too fast. You want to process things first and then make a quick decision, make a quick throw, quick check down, a quick read, but you don't want to be too fast and rush it, be early, be late, all those things. So I think that's Simmons' biggest attribute, along with the physical tools, is just between the ears. He's ahead of the game. I'm excited to see what he looks like in the next couple of years, because I do think he will challenge Walker Howard. And he kind of gets lost in the shuffle because he's kind of, in the middle, where he's the true backup. But then everybody talks about Austin Simmons and, look at what he's doing on the baseball field. And, he's this, wonderkind of a prospect of graduating high school 2 years early and all of that. But, Walker Howard's no bum.
But
he's no slouch.
I think it's encouraging, though, that it's not just, okay, well, Walker's next. And then, you want this and you want to see emerging talent. And that's what Ole Miss is getting in Austin Simmons. And it's really fun to see. And we're not far now from spring practices, thank God.
The College Corner is headed to Oxford. Stop by their new location in the Oxford Commons off Sisk Avenue. They'll have 4,000 square feet of Rebel gear ready for your trip to the Grove. On your next trip to Oxford, stop by the College Corner or our other great locations in Ridgeland and Flowood. Hats, shirts, polos, pullovers, sweats, t-shirts. College Corner has it all. And as always, you can visit us online at collegecornerstore.com. That's collegecornerstore.com. The College Corner, where your game day apparel meets.
A new year has arrived. What's your resolution for 2024? How about making sure the roof over your head is well taken care of? Riverland Roofing is here for all your roofing needs. Whether it's an inspection, a new roof, or a maintenance program, Riverland Roofing has you covered, home or business, to give you peace of mind in the new year. As a GAF Master Elite contractor, they can offer warranties that last a lifetime. Riverland Roofing is licensed and insured to service Mississippi and its surrounding states. So give Riverland Roofing a call today and make sure you and yours are protected all year round. Call Riverland Roofing at 662-644-4297. That's 662-644-4297. Visit them online at riverlandroofing.com, riverlandroofing.com. It's Riverland Roofing for all of your roofing needs, a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network. The car buying process can be a lot. I know, I've been there. You just want to get in and out with a new car and the best deal. Simple. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford keeps it simple. They're going to take care of you, get you in and out with your new vehicle with a great deal. Their inventory right now is priced to sell, and what separates Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford from any and all competitors as they aim to address each of your needs with the utmost respect, care, and attention to detail. Contact them today at 662-234-8000. That's 662-234-8000. Stop by and see them in person at 2201 East University Avenue in Oxford. That's Alan Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford to find your next perfect car, truck, or Jeep. Alan Samuels, let's be friends.
Introducing the new and improved BNA Bank mobile app. From setting transaction alerts and tracking your spending habits to managing travel plans and turning off a lost or stolen debit card, you can take care of all of it in the new BNA mobile app. At BNA Bank, we know that life moves pretty fast, and we have the mobile technology to keep up with your life on the go. BNA Bank. Local, invested, modern banking.
Man, that backup quarterback battle, it's been a while since we've gone to practices covering any type of quarterback quote-unquote battle. Yeah, Luke Altmaier and Jackson Dart battled, but he started all but one game and will have started all but one game, barring injury, for all 3 years of his time at Ole Miss. So, no, we really haven't covered anything consequentially about the quarterbacks in a while. And, man, this is going to be the spring to watch Walker and watch Austin and see if A.J. Maddox coming in as early enrollee can go ahead and make it a good first impression. Because next year, it's a free-for-all. But, like, Lane Kiffin doesn't operate like, okay, the old days is, all right, Ole Miss just lost a 3-year starter at quarterback. They're breaking in a new guy. It might take them a year. They might win 7-8 this year, 9 next year, and then they're going for it. No, Lane Kiffin expects to compete for 10 games in the SEC and in the playoff, the expanded playoff, every single year. So the show rolls on. Who's going to be that guy that can best keep it rolling the way that Lane Kiffin wants it rolling? That's one thing I'm going to be watching in the spring. But it's an exciting time, and that's why it's kind of bizarre to me. Like, Ole Miss fans, their interest has fallen off in so many different things, and like I've never been more intrigued by a number of things. One of which being Austin Simmons. I mean, I came here just to talk about that kid because there's something special about him, man. I mean, he's a special kid, and maybe we should have known that when he was coming out of high school. I mean, you go up 2 classes, that is completely unheard of. It's totally unprecedented. So, like, that by itself is an impressive story, that he's pitching at this level and he's competing at this level, being the youngest player in college baseball and in college football. And he will continue to be until a new class comes in, and he's performing. So that's why it's so funny. We were all swept up for the longest. Oh, gosh, if Arch doesn't come. Well, now Arch is off doing hardo things, and Austin Simmons is playing 2 sports and playing them both pretty damn well for Ole Miss. It's okay. It's fine. And, you got a transcendent talent at quarterback anyway, and he's going to be in the game, god dang it. In 2025-6, you will be playing with Austin Simmons unless you went and signed like a 5-star, made-up player, which is what we all do. Did you do that? Like when you do your dynasty, create a player that you'd want to recruit and then lose him somehow because you didn't recruit him well enough? That happened to me so many times.
No, I only did create a school.
Okay.
Like I would create high schools. Like create me and all my buddies.
Oh, okay.
Did all the graphics and everything.
See, I never put myself into the game other than as a coach because all I wanted to do was recruit. And I
did it because I played wide receiver and went to a high school that ran the wishbone. So
yeah,
I had
you wanted to know what it felt like to catch a pass.
I had to get my box scores up.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like when you're an offensive lineman in high school, like this guy was, you don't put yourself in the game. I don't really care to see myself as a center. If I do go in, I'm a quarterback. We're number 8 because it's the greatest quarterback number of all time.
All right. So real quick, before we get out of here, we got to talk hoops. Ole Miss Tuesday night, Georgia must win. Obviously,
if they don't win, they're already on the outside looking in.
You got to win out.
You have to win out. No, you don't have to win out in the SEC tournament. I think you're going to need some losses by the teams in front of you. Ole Miss is in the next 4 out. So that means that they have 7 teams that they have to contend with or jump or leapfrog between now and Selection Sunday. So going into this week.
Jerry Palm.
Okay.
You last 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out. there are 9 teams ahead of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
So Ole Miss is the second team in next 4 out per Jerry Palm.
Okay.
The net just hasn't moved at all. It's stuck at 78 at this
They
point.
haven't won
I
any
think
games. They've only beaten Missouri for a month.
you gotta win out, beat Georgia, beat A&M at home. A season sweep of A&M would be big, and you
Huge.
also, in my opinion, Ole Miss needs A&M to beat Mississippi State this week.
Yes. See, that's the important stuff. That's
Because
the
A&M's got
unfortunate
big
thing.
wins.
Right. That's the unfortunate thing about Ole Miss's position is that it has been objectively a great year. Let's not forget here, Ole Miss only won 7 combined SEC games the previous 2 years. All right. So for them to be where they are, hats off to Chris Beard and his staff. And it's been an entertaining brand of basketball. They start out 13-0 to match the all-time record at Ole Miss. And only 3 Chris Beard teams have done that. Only one hasn't made the NCAA tournament. There could be 2 after this year. But I'm not writing this team off because of how far they've come, right? It's a tall order with such a limited amount of time to jump 9. 9? 9?
Yeah.
That means you're going to have so many results in front of you and win out. It's doable. It's not ridiculous, but it's not the cleanest path. The most likely scenario is you're not going to leapfrog 9, right? 1 or 3 of those teams will get hot, and there's only a precious few amount of bids that are left in the bottom of the field. I mean, they've got the whole bracket filled out before Selection Sunday, say for like 3 spots. So for Ole Miss, you have to beat Georgia, you have to beat Texas A&M, and you need to win at least 2 in the tournament. And that's going to be hard. But with this team, unlike past teams where they had a similar type of road, I believe this team could do it only because, 1, I believe in Chris Beard, of course. He's one of the best coaches in college basketball. But 2, Matthew Morrell, we need to give that man his flowers. He's averaging over 17 points a game, Ole Miss's leading scorer. We've been saying for years if he could just get a surrounding cast, at least within earshot of his own personal talent, individual talent, that he would become the NBA player and stud that we all thought he has become that. He has. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the game. He's going to make an NBA roster. He's an NBA player. And those are things to be celebrated because Ole Miss has no NBA presence. There's not a single NBA player from Ole Miss in the league right now. Now, granted, it's the hardest league of the professional leagues to get somebody in, but Tirico got a taste. TD got a taste. Like,
you think it's harder than Major League Baseball?
Well, consider for Ole Miss it is. I mean,
well, yeah, and less roster spots.
Yeah, it's less roster spots first of all, but like Ole Miss doesn't even have a G League presence really. I mean, I know Devontae's in there. I think Brienne's in there. Point being is, I think Matthew Morrell. I mean, he even when he was at his purely only projection developmental stage, where they're saying, all right, this is what he can be. He was being projected as like an end of the first round guy. Well, now you actually have proof of concept with him. So you can draft him and know what you are getting, which is an efficient 3-point shooter, an attacking guard that still hasn't tapped into what he can be. But he was great this year. And I really want to see it for him because he stuck around for 4 years. He is a very rare case in college sports these days. 4 years in one place. And don't think for a second that he wasn't tampered with. There's so many schools that came after him. Kentucky was one that wanted him bad 2 years ago. We tried to, kind of backdoor him during the summer, and it's just, he stayed. I would love to see him rewarded because this team does have a legitimate argument to be included in the NCAA tournament. But in the last month of the regular season, you cannot lose 6 of 7 and expect to hang on. Now you have to go take it. You have to go win some games. It starts with Georgia. It starts with former Ole Miss Rebel Mike White, the all-time great Mike White. You got to beat them, then beat Texas A&M. And next week,
is he an all-time great?
Absolutely. Don't let your hatred of Mike White as a coach. Look, let's stop.
It's not hatred. I just don't know.
No, it's not hatred. But let me just say.
I just don't know.
Let me just say. Every time for the last, I'm talking to Ole Miss fans. Zach, excuse me. You're interrupting. All right, Ole Miss fans. Mike White has been on our hot boards, coaching hot boards, for each of the last 2 cycles for obvious reasons. you know? And both times, because Zach is the one that builds our hot boards. We get together, we come up with stuff, sourcing stuff, put it all together, nice piece of content. And every time I get to Mike White, the reaction is the same from Zach. It's the same. Oh, God. Oh. So that's what, don't let that. I know you don't want Mike White to be the head coach of Ole Miss basketball. Friend, he's not going to be. All right.
I mean,
but you cannot take away from the fact that the man was a part of 3 NCAA tournament teams at Ole Miss. How many times has Ole Miss, he was the starting point guard, the leading assist guy for 3 NCAA tournament teams. All right. How many times has Ole Miss been to the NCAA tournament? In its 100-plus year history.
What is it, like 6 times?
9. So a third of their appearances, Mike White was the point guard for. And you mean to tell me you, with a program that does not have.
Is his number up in the rafters at the Pavilion?
Well, no, but I mean, we have some numbers up there that I could say are arguable. It doesn't matter.
I'm not saying he sucked. You just said all-time great. So I was thinking, like,
well, here's the thing.
in the rafters.
Like, that's completely subjective. So of course I can say that because Anthony Boone, I loved Anthony Boone. All right. I think I said this one time and it was wrong. I thought Anthony Boone's number was retired in the rafters, and then I don't think it is. Anyway, Anthony Boone or retired numbers are subjective. Now that I don't know if Anthony Boone,
and also just to clarify,
what's up there?
If the number's not up there, I'm not saying.
Yeah, are you saying
not an all-time great? But
okay.
I don't know. I was unfamiliar with Mike White's work. Maybe I should say that.
Wow. Dude, I remember watching Mike White and them against my team Cleaves in Michigan State. I mean, what are we doing here? See, it's getting lost now. As we move on to 2024, where anybody can be anything and nothing matters, this is what's killing me. I was sitting there with Jared Ivey. We were workshopping our first thing. And when I said, hey, Patrick, I was like, oh, Patrick Willis just became only the 3rd Ole Miss Rebel ever named to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He said, oh, Patrick Willis is like one of those old heads, right? Like 70. What? He didn't even know Joe Gunn was. We can't forget Joe Gunn's. Certainly can't think Patrick Willis is like a dinosaur. We can't forget Doug Ziegler's. Because if we don't remember him, who the hell's going to? These kids aren't. Even the ones wearing our script. What is going on?
Shout out to Doug Ziegler and Charles Stackhouse and Wolf Chase Galleria.
Oh, here's one. Like the number 6, I always associated with Tord Sanford. You know what I mean? I mean, it was different for me. I was talking to a kid the other day. He's a son of one of my best friends. I'll tell you, he won't care. Dawson Horn, great kid. And he's playing the younger version of me. I'm doing a community theater production of Tarzan. My daughter loves musical theater, and I've told her to be about it, don't talk about it, but she inherited her dad's self-hate. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to prove it. I walk in there and say, hey, man, just make me a tree. Here I am waving in the wind. Well, now I'm Turk in Tarzan, and I got to sing, and they told me I got to lose 7 pounds, Zach. I mean, I've been working hard, and to be told, oh, you're still 7 over, it's kind of soul crushing, but no. So I'm doing this Tarzan production play, and Dawson's there. He's playing Little Me. And I said, hey, look, man, I was actually, when I learned that I got this part, I was doing the Ivy League. I was sitting down to record the Ivy League. And I told Jared about it, and he's like, oh, dude, I'm coming. I'm absolutely coming. Well, the first thing he said was, wait a second, I got one question, to which I was like, no, we're not going to be wearing blackface. He's like, I had to ask. Because which more than fair. No, that's not happening. He says he's coming. He's going to bring some people. So I'm thinking, oh, that's awesome. Man, some Ole Miss football players might come to this it's going to be fun. This Tarzan community theater production in New Albany, Mississippi. I was like, man, that's cool. Like, young Ben would have freaked out if Charles Stackhouse, if Doug Ziegler, if Timon Fisher would have shown up at something I was doing. So I thought, I'll share this with Dawson. I said, hey, man, so I'm sitting there with Jared, and we're talking about that. He's like, Jared, oh, yeah, Jared Ivey, and he says he might be coming to the show. Who's Jared Ivey? This is a diehard Ole Miss fan. He goes to every game. The connection has been severed. It's been severed. So we got to get on a rooftop in the square and play video games. We got to go on a turkey hunt. And we got to bring up Joe Gunn and Marshae Green and Dexter. And, well, Dexter's a little too. Like, no one's forgetting Dexter. I don't know. Patrick Trahan. I talked to Wayne Dorsey. Wayne Dorsey. You know, we can't forget these people. We are the modern day historians, apparently, because no one else is doing it. I'm off my soapbox. That's I'm done. I'm surprised you didn't say anything about the community theater. I really thought you'd roast me. Not gonna lie.
No, that's great.
Oh yeah, that's great.
As someone that went to a high school that has a nationally known fine arts department. Yeah. Chris Parnell, ever heard of him?
Wow, SNL.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know that.
The good old Poplar Pike Playhouse.
That is crazy. I didn't know that. Should have gone to your school, you know?
Shout out to Mr. Bluestein.
Instead, I went to New Albany where they're like, yeah, Ben, you got to play football or you're a loser, you know? And I played it and I love football, but I'd rather like talk about it and coach football than play it because I was never worth a shit. You know what I mean? But hey, if y'all want to come to Tarzan in New Albany, I'll be dancing around. They're putting me in a harness. I got to lose 7 pounds. I got to make weight. We doing it.
That's good though.
By the way, I missed you, buddy.
For the doing it for the locals.
I'm doing it for my kid. I'm doing it for Gracie. Gracie wants to do this, and I'm like, just do it.
It's called community theater, Ben. You're doing it for the community.
I'm doing it for me.
That's admirable.
You know, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for the star turn. By God. No. If you want to see it, it's April 26th to the 28th. Apparently, Jared Ivy's going to be there. Dawson Horn, who is a huge Ole Miss fan, just like I was at that age. For him, it's crazy. Like, I remember running on the field at Meet the Rebels because my dad said, hey, you have to beat everybody to that guy. And he was pointing to a freshman Eli Manning. You know? That's the kind of stuff where college football, we've kind of lost some of that. So that's why we restructured. That's why you haven't seen me for 2 weeks. You don't need to, first of all, hear me that much. I'm an idiot. But also, you know, we really want to bring more interesting stories and topics and stuff. And that's not the only show I hope to launch this year. Multiple shows with players and other stuff that we're working on. So stay tuned to the Ole Miss Spirit. OleMissSpirit.com. Subscribe to the Ole Miss Spirit. Talk on our Miss.
I told you about the outhouse featuring Pooh Paul.
I hated that when you said it. And now I hate it more that you've made it public.
Ask him, see what he thinks.
I can go ahead and answer for him confidently. No. Pooh Corner is just right there, too. Pooh Corner is a song by Kenny Loggins. It's in direct reference to Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin, and you're talking about shit.
Funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's the lowest of low-hanging fruit. You know? Pooh.
It's always going to be funny.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, you're probably right. But no, we're not doing the outhouse with Pooh Paul. But Pooh is really good though. Like he's really good, and he's gonna be a part. TJ Dudley wants to go white water rafting, for which I'm like, shit, let's go.
What?
Yeah. All right.
Real quick, as we were recording, Ole Miss baseball, Tuesday's game against Memphis moved to Wednesday because of rain in the forecast.
There you go.
So do not go to Swayze Field tonight.
Or if you do, make sure you try to jump the locked fence while inebriated, because I heard that always ends well.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But hey, good to have you back on the show. This was fun.
I had a blast doing this. Like, I'm glad.
Sorry that Mike White caught a stray. I wasn't trying to shoot him down or anything.
But here's the thing, though. Like, you were, because you were not a big fan of Mike White, a coach. It's not personal. It's just you don't like him as a coach. So that, like, and you don't really know him personally. I know I don't know him anymore, but like one of my favorite moments in my career, which has been going on way too long now, was when I went to Lepanto, Arkansas. It was me. I met me and Neil McCready and Yancey. We were all down there.
Madden.
And when I tell you, Mike swore up and down. I called him. I said, dude, it's all Arkansas in here. Dude, he committed to me like 10 minutes ago, writing to his press. It's going to happen. Okay.
He
probably did. Yeah. I'm not blaming Mike. It's just then calling him back and going, yeah, he put on an Arkansas hat. And hearing Mike be like, I mean, the dejection in his voice. Because back then, it's like, now all these commitment announcements are, broadcast somewhere.
Yeah.
Back then, it was just us reporting Well, I was quoting what Kai Madden said to you that would subscribe to my site. And when I tell you, this man sounded like, it was complete and utter dejection. And I get it. It was so, he's like, all right, man, I'll talk to you later. Click.
It's not that I don't think he's a good coach. It's like Mean Girls. Like, Ole Miss fans have been trying to make fetch happen for so long, and it's just never going to happen.
Well, here's the thing, though. It would have happened, or I think the only time it really almost happened was when Ole Miss went with Kermit, because then they wanted to hire Mike, but Mike wanted to wait until his season was over. And Ole Miss, Ross Bjork, and Keith.
You can't do that.
Can't wait. They didn't want to wait. And
It's like Ole Miss did with Dusty May. Didn't want to wait.
Yeah, a little bit. But this was a little different because, like, for some reason, they just decided, the program will just be in ruins if we wait 3 more weeks for our guy. But they loved Kermit. Kermit blew him away in the interview. They hired Kermit. They go to the NCAA tournament. It didn't work out. It happens. But I don't think it's really been all that serious since.
No.
At all.
I think everybody's moved on.
I do too.
And that's fine. That's fine.
If and when there's another coaching search,
I'm not putting him on there.
Mike will be number 3 this time.
No. If you do the outhouse, I'll put him on the next hot board.
I'm going to put him on the next hot board regardless of whether you did it or not. Like, I'm going to go in there behind you.
Just go in there and edit it.
Yeah, I'm just go in there. Yeah, that's the beauty of being a boss, bro. I can go in there and just like, all right, you know what?
Leave an editor's note, please, that says this has been
Ben put this in there, not Zach, because God knows Zach's got like a crazy rivalry with Mike White.
Gosh.
Hey, do you know what number he wore at Ole Miss?
He was like 23, 22. 22? Okay, I got it.
Here you go. You're on it.
I knew he played. I knew he was good. I was being a little facetious with he's not up in the rafters. But,
forgot
in due time he probably will be.
I don't know. That's a good. I don't know. Is Mike White where I think so, because the history is just not. You should celebrate any good in Ole Miss history, period. You
made a case for him to be up there. Now you're saying you don't know.
Yeah, because that's a different conversation entirely. Because I am a big. I don't believe in retiring numbers. I think retiring numbers is asinine. All right, passage of time, bro. Like the Yankees, when are they going to start wearing?
Honor the people that wore the jersey.
Yes,
not the
honor
number.
the person who wore the jersey. Like, the jersey is a part of it. The actual jersey number doesn't mean anything. It's the person who inhabited the jersey. So, like, if somebody comes behind, pick somebody. Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle with the Yankees. They can never wear that. They can wear 7 for the Mick because the Mick dared to wear it. What if he was issued 69? Like, now John Smith, who's been working his entire life to be a Yankee, he comes up, I got to wear what? Number 1C? Like, what are they going to do? They're running out of numbers, right? It's silly. Honor the people. Leave the numbers alone. Like, 10 should be on the field at Ole Miss. 18 should be on the field at Ole Miss. They can, but like, that's not dishonoring them. They're still going to have the speed limit as 18. You still retire them up there. Eli, Archie, recognize the people, but like, leave the numbers alone, man. Again, I said I was off my soapbox, and you got me back on it. You know what to do. You hadn't talked to me in 2 weeks. That's the thing. You hadn't talked to me in podcast form for 2 weeks, and they hadn't heard from me in podcast form 2 weeks. It was like word vomit for 40 minutes.
We ran over time, but you were cooking, so I didn't want to interrupt. And it's been a while,
again, subjective. Your definition of cooking and what others might be thinking is cooking. Yeah, But baseball, we don't have a baseball game anymore today?
No, just hoops tonight.
That's fine. Gotta get that. Gotta get that one.
Against
Mike White against Zach's hated rival, Mike White.
Speaking of cooking, shout out to Marquisha Davis and Madison Scott, all SEC first team.
Nice.
Ole Miss Lady Hoops, 3 seed in the SEC tournament. Closed strong, 22-7, 12 wins in the SEC, most ever. Program history. So big ups to Coach Yo as they get the long break. They don't play till Friday.
That's the good stuff, man. They get to stay at home.
Little double bye action.
They sleep in their own beds.
Yeah. So I think comfortably in the field. Just now playing for resume boost. Try to get a good seed. So yeah, Ole Miss women in Greenville, South Carolina Friday. But yeah, Ole Miss men's hoops tonight. against Georgia, and then baseball Wednesday, and then Morehead State on the weekend. So we'll have more shows this week. Just a quick editor's note here, producer's note. If you see other podcasts this week where I am wearing this same outfit, it is because it has been pre-recorded because I will be out of town, and it's not that I am wearing the same outfit every day.
You know, you could have just changed.
I mean, I could, but that's just
Costume changes. Just
but
change
yeah,
the
we'll
hat. Who would have noticed?
Yeah.
I wear the same shit to every
People
show.
probably don't notice that, but
No, I mean, like I wear a hat either forwards, usually backwards, because it's like Linus in his blanket, you know, and a pullover, a hoodie to everything I do, and no one says shit. And now you're all worried that somebody's gonna go, oh, this Friday, Zach wore the same thing. What are you
they
doing?
probably don't, but there might
No,
be
they
somebody
don't.
out there that might be like, what a bum.
You've got way too much Rebel Grove message board brain. You know that, right? Like you think in everything in terms of Rebel Grove message boards. You're so worried that like 30 people in their message board are gonna be like, dude, you see Zach was wearing the same sweatshirt on Friday, he's wearing Tuesday. Who cares?
I mean, it's probably not that. It's just mostly me. Just
No,
like
okay.
I am hygienic. I mean,
Well, that's subjective too, though, isn't it?
it's mostly just for me. Like,
Okay.
just
So
being
you
in
want people to know that
being in a
you do
visual
have more
medium,
clothes.
people are gonna say something.
I don't think anybody said a thing. But now we've made it a thing. So now from now on,
Yeah.
all they're gonna notice is what clothes we're wearing. Oh, Ben's wearing another hoodie, short sleeve hoodie because he likes layers because he's fat. Oh, Ben's wearing another hat backwards. Why? You having a bad day, Ben? You know, you want to like security blanket? Yeah. Yes, sir. You know, thanks, Zach. Thanks for making us have to call out our shit this morning. Or this afternoon. That's still morning.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me on my show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Flagship brought to you by College Corner. 3 locations. Check them out, collegecornerstore.com. We'll have more podcasts this week.
The Ivy League's coming out Thursday morning. Brought to you by Riverland Roofing. Guest Diego Pounds from North Carolina, the tackle. He's coming up, and he'll be there Thursday.
We'll have more coverage of basketball, baseball at omspirit.com. Check it out. If you're not a subscriber, join today for just $1.
$1.
You know, if Arch Manning opted into the game, he could join it 600 times. So do it for Arch just because, you know, maybe he would appreciate it. So thanks to Ben for joining. Appreciate College Corner bringing this show to you. And as always, thank you to you, the listener, for tuning in. So for Ben over there, I'm Zach. This has been the Flagship. Till next time, we out.
Hey, don't talk to me anytime soon. I'm all about ball.